Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the show everybody loves when psychic stand-up meets paranormal stand-up Ryan Singer, and we just have a good time. Oh, yeah, join the Patreon. Go to karenrontowski.com or psychicstandup.com. Shows all over the place have been added in small theaters everywhere. I'm so excited. Come see me. Sign up for my email. That is the best way in case TikTok or all these things are canceled. So, Ryan, I know I'm the worst promo, right?
No, I'm laughing because it's like, it's like it's more like when these things are canceled, I feel like, not if.
I know, right? Or when they're censored or when I have said the wrong thing.
Yeah, who knows? But it's so good to be back, Karen.
It's so good. I miss your voice, my friend. And we don't get to, or as of now, when we're taping this, we don't get to hang out in Nashville. But you're back in LA, aren't you?
Yeah. So I'm back home. I got back here, finally moved in permanently in August of 2024. Tried to in May, then the car ran into there's a whole thing, or a Tesla ran into the house I was moving into.
Boy, is that ironic.
Yeah, right.
That's a saying for the year. Tesla ran into our house.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this was an omen.
For everyone.
And just put a big hole in the wall. And luckily no one was hurt when it happened. But so I'm back in LA at least for a little while till the summer. Well, I'll be on, by the time this comes out, I'll probably be wrapping up a big 2.5 month tour.
Oh, that's great. Hey, by the way, was that a self-driving Tesla or a weird driver Tesla?
Well, it had a driver who was driving at the time and swerved to avoid hitting someone who pulled out. And we've got like kind of I live on a high action corner, I guess, where you have to kind of make blind left-hand turns and stuff like that a little bit. So it was one of those situations.
Oh God! Well, that's awful, but I'm glad you got it together. Well, great. So you said you had a question for me right away.
Well, yeah, because this is a phenomenon that I've been experiencing lately, and I don't think it's paranormal. But and we have driven in cars together, and so I think you might be and we've known each other for a long time, so I figure you'd be a good person to ask this question. I have noticed for the last few years, almost every time, I shouldn't say every single time, almost every single time someone gets in my car, they comment on how clean it is. Now, is this because everyone assumes I'm just a dirty bastard and they're shocked by how clean my car is? Or is everyone kind of just a mess in their car? And so when they see a clean car, they're taken aback by it. Like, I don't know if I should be offended or complimented. Do you ever have those situations where you don't know, is this a compliment or is this, is someone trying to burn me right now? Like
all the time.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, do I give off like sloppy vibes?
I don't think you give off sloppy vibes. I think you definitely give off hippie vibes because you kind of are a hippie.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know why people think it's kind of like when I look up hippie clothes, I have to look up boho hippie clothes because hippie clothes are kind of nasty. So they might assume maybe not so much dirt as chaos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, because it is fair to assume the hippie side of me is prevalent because, I try to conserve water when I can. So if I haven't done something crazy, I'll try not to shower that day. Right. And if I, as long as I'm not like going to be in close encounters with people, you know what I mean? I'll conserve water. Sometimes I'll go a couple days without taking a shower or things like that. I have all natural deodorant, and I'm burning the incense constantly. So I probably smell like, non kappa. I mean, so I do get it, I guess, that people would think that there might just be chaos in there or just
There yes, chaos isn't the right word, but you know how, like, I live in chaos. In fact, it's funny because when you were saying that, I was laughing and thinking it's the opposite for me. There is so much stuff in my car that I think people are shocked. It's one of those where when people are getting in, there has to be a cleaning. There has to be that. Wait a minute, hold on. You got
yeah, hold on, let me get all this off your seat.
and you know what? But I have found, I got to tell you, I am the master of neat little purchases. I have a net that goes across the seat next to me, so things aren't all over the seat. The little net holds them. But my car is the one, and right now my car smells kind of weird because I bought it from Enterprise Rent a Car, and they all use the same cleaner. All the clean, and so that car, my car has that smell. A rental car, like a little bit of a fake, like flowery smell, but I almost got it
Yeah.
out. But yeah, I think that's more of a late. You're not a person that ever took antidepressants or anything, right?
No. Well, when I was younger, actually, in my early 20s, uh, a holistic doctor that my mom wanted me to see. So this is, 20 some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, like at the height of oh, this is a real kook, right? Like as far as, people were concerned.
Yeah.
Which, I was always kind of,
Granola.
into anyway. Yeah. And so he diagnosed me as anxious depressive, which is something that was a diagnosis that, when I researched later, I couldn't find anywhere.
He made it up.
I guess I don't know. I mean, I used to do at the very early days of my stand-up comedy. I was like, oh, I guess they hit their quota on the other adjectives that they could put in front of depressive. So they had to, he had to make another one. Like the joke was like, oh, I just couldn't excite it. I couldn't wait to do absolutely nothing. Um, I was so excited about how shitty my life was. But like the but I took medicine for, I don't know, maybe a week. I don't even remember what it was. And I don't think he had you know, a psychiatrist license to be able to prescribe actual pharmaceutical medication. So
So it
I
was
don't
a
even know
hippie
what it was.
medication? Oh,
So yeah, who knows? I have no idea what it was. And after a week, I was just like, I don't feel like taking this anymore.
so
Um,
so the sort of the root of that question was because if you are an anxious person, didn't make it to anxious depressive. If you are an anxious person, you that and then you take an antidepressant. I remember how I wasn't on time all the time, and I wasn't like everything wasn't in order and everything wasn't in place because that anxiety sometimes can hold all that up. Like, I gotta do it, I gotta get there, it's gotta be clean. So it might be, like something like that. Like with me, yeah, I don't know why, but the anxiety or the nervousness, when you watch someone start taking antidepressives, they can get a little irresponsible, but not in a bad way.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. And I am an anxious person, and like I can't be late. I I I mean, if maybe it was from when I was a kid. Like I learned the old. I think maybe it was my mom or something who said if you're not early, you're late,
Oh.
and it stresses me out to be late. Like if I know I'm going to be late to something, I start melting down. Um, so I'm like the comedian sitting in their car half an hour before the showrunners even get there to set up the chairs. Uh,
Oh
you know,
my
s-
god, I like to walk in when they're calling my name.
right? I mean, you and I are the complete opposite in that
And,
situation.
I think we look like we would be the opposite,
Yeah, we do. We do.
right?
Yeah, I think so. And it is, I mean, that's one specific thing that, it gives me, real anxiety. I mean, to the fact where, I mean, certain times it's called for, I think,
Mhm.
right? I'll give you one example without getting into too much detail. But in my last relationship, I was at a wedding. It was a really good friend of mine, and I had something to do with the wedding, and so I didn't want to be late, obviously, because I had to be there early to get things set or to understand what I was supposed to be doing there.
Mhm.
And so I let her know. I was like, I have to be, we have to get there early because I got to do this thing. So I'm just giving you a heads up. And we were running late because of what just took her. Even though a couple hours earlier, I was like, we need to start getting this moving now. And she's like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. And then sure enough, we were late.
Oh.
As I sat there dressed for like 45 minutes waiting for her to
Right.
finish up doing whatever. And I was just, and I like, that was probably the first time we ever like had an argument.
Right. Well,
Um,
I can kind of side with you on that because, like, a lot of times my brother-in-law will give me a ride to places with my sister and brother, they will, and he is always early, always early. But if he says he's coming early, I'll be ready early, you know?
yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's different too. Like if I tell someone I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock to pick them up and I get there at 12:45, I don't expect them to be ready at 12:45.
Right. Good,
Like,
because I'm never ready at 12:40.
yeah. Yeah. So,
Don't be early. I
it's
will
like,
say that. Don't be early.
yeah, I mean, especially one of those things when other people are involved for me. That's like when I don't know, I'm too, there's part of me that's like a real people pleaser too, I suppose, on some level.
Oh.
Um, yeah, right. So like if I feel like I'm letting other people down or other people are relying on me, I mean, I get a little more anxious about, fucking it up or whatever.
Mhm.
So I got to be like, so that, that will contribute to it. But I'll tell you, that anxiousness or that anxiety does keep me pretty much on time. Like I'm 20 minutes early every time to my weekly therapy session.
Yeah.
I just have to like walk around the neighborhood for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, that's you know what else I wonder as I get older, there were certain like, and I see this in other people. Sometimes anxiety like that is like speed, like you're taking speed and this keeps me rolling all day. I got to get to the next place. I got to do that. And now as I'm older, like I keep trying to slow it down. It has to slow, it doesn't feel right anymore. It's almost like when you're younger, you have that energy to burn, and then as you get older, you're like, "I wanna use this energy elsewhere."
100%. And this is 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. I'm at a casino eating dinner with my one of my best buds, Dave Stone. We're headed up to Northern California to do a weekend of shows, and we stop halfway up for the night or whatever, and we're eating at the bar, and I remember thinking to myself, it's time to slow it down as I'm putting a French fry in my mouth.
Mhm.
And then for the first time in my life, I realized, oh, I'm actually not the first time in my life, but like, I'm like, oh, I'm actually eating at a normal pace right now. Because I worked in the restaurant for, 15 plus years or whatever. So it was always eat as fast as you can, or you're eating in between shows real quick at a club on the
Mhm.
weekend. And, you got to like try to scarf down some chicken fingers or whatever, because you got to be selling merch or got to be getting ready. And so, and for the first time in my life, I'm like, it's time to slow it down. And my
Mhm.
stomach and my body are like, thank God, we can finally process this food that you're giving us. But I think it is time for me to slow down in certain aspects for sure.
Yeah, my father used to say that we all ate like we were afraid someone was gonna take it away, and and I still do that, and I have to remind myself sometimes that you love so last night I made my garbanzo bean pasta, which is just pasta made of garbanzo beans, ladies and gentlemen, it's fantastic, and, with olives and onions and garlic and olive oil. Oh, and then nutritional yeast on top. And I have to remember, if you eat slower, you're not sick full later because you were enjoying it, but you kept having to shove it in faster. I don't know.
Yes.
I remember my friend was from France, and when his father came over here to visit, he could not conceive the phrase fast food. He was like, "Why would you ever have food fast? Why would you do that?" And I was like, "You're not cool."
Yeah, like what's wrong with you? Like slow food sounds awful.
Yes, yes. It's interesting to this topic a little bit of getting even time, like time going by so fast. I feel like this year 2025 is just off the hook going too fast, don't you?
Oh, interesting. Um, well, I do have I do have thoughts on that, but real quick, I got to say this out loud because you gave me this idea
Okay.
um, about eating too fast. Are you familiar with like the high intensity interval training or Tabata timers? It's this workout where you do like 30 seconds and then you have 30 seconds or 15 seconds off and then the 30 seconds and then 15
Yes.
to 30. Okay, right. And so there's these apps you can download and they'll vibrate or give you a ping or tell you when, you know, 30 seconds, rest, and then 15 seconds later it'll like begin, right? And it'll vibrate if you have like an Apple Watch or something like that. I'm thinking now I should be maybe even doing like setting those timers because you can set them for whatever times you want.
Oh.
Make them like a bite timer while eating, right? So you set it for like, okay, and you set like, I don't know, 30 to 45 seconds in between each for rest, but that's for chewing, right? So you have bite and then it'll say stop and then chew for like 45 seconds. And so you eat on a timer, which will ensure that you eat slowly. Okay, I just had to
And
say that out
no,
loud. So
I'm loving that because I'm thinking, this is the only country in the world that could use an interval eating timer.
interval eating timer. Yeah, just because like you have so much fucking abundance, you have so much food to eat, you like need a timer to slow your ass down. Like you gluttonous pig. Uh it's like you have been so spoiled for the entirety of your existence. You need someone to tell you to like, hey, relax and don't consume everything so fast.
It's like Pavlov, wait for the bell. Wait for the
Yeah.
bell.
Yeah. And every time I get to gym or something, I just start like drooling. Um,
All right. Well, hey, hang on a
okay.
second. We're going to take a break and we're going to come right back. This is a weird segue, but I want to tell you some of the fun purchases I have made. I don't know why. Okay, we'll be right back. Hey, everybody. After the Lori Bell episode, a bunch of you guys reached out and said, Karen, where are you getting mushrooms legally online? So I reached out to the company and I said, hey, would you guys like an ad on my podcast? And they said, hey, would you like to be an affiliate? And that was the day I learned what an affiliate was. So I am now an affiliate for mycholine.com. Folks, these are the real deal. This is not on Instagram or places where you see, hey, there's some lion's mane and you might feel better and you might not. These are real mushrooms. And they come in a liquid concentrate form with 4 great flavors. Blue raspberry is my favorite. If you are microdose curious, this is a fabulous way to give it a shot. They come with wonderful instructions. 1 to 4 squirts is microdosing or just relaxing. 5 to 8 is a little more of that party feeling. If you're out partying with people and they're all drinking, that's kind of where you want to be. And 8 and above does its thing. I am perfectly happy with 5 or 6. I haven't gone to 8, but I've read the reviews and people are very, very happy. So you want to go to mycholine.com, MyColean, and you're going to use coupon code Karen71367. All one word, all capital letters, Karen71367 for a 10% discount. Go get some mushrooms, enjoy, and send me an email and let me know how you like it. I love that we're not even close to paranormal. Okay, so I am a lot like you when like I work out in the morning and then I stink all day and then I work out at night. I don't care, right? I'm not seeing anybody during the day. My stuff is on the phone. But I always am complaining that there is no hot yoga in Utica. Like in LA, you're talking Bikram, you're talking 118, you're talking 120, that kind of thing. And I couldn't find anything like that here. So this is where we have become. I don't know, by the time this comes out, the economy may be way different. But for $90 on Amazon, I got a tiny pup tent sauna that gets
Oh,
it's in the extra bedroom. It's not even up to my shoulder. Is you get a little chair in it, you go sit in it. It's the greatest design I've ever seen for such a simple thing. It has a thing that boils water. It blows through a tube into this thing. Then that blows into a distributor. And I have my sweating dreams. I go to yoga and then I come home and I sit in that. And it's unbelievable. And when you sweat enough, when you get the toxins out of your system enough, your sweat doesn't stink anymore.
oh, well, okay. You gotta pop me a link on this.
Yeah, 90
Uh,
bucks. You gotta have a little it's not a lot of room. In that bedroom, I have that, and I have a little trampoline to jump to clean out my lymph nodes. It's
I
wonderful.
love a good trampoline. I love a trampoline.
It's just a little one. It's a little in-house one. I don't they say
Yeah.
every lawyer on TikTok where they go, "What you wouldn't do?" They say, "I wouldn't get on a trampoline."
Yeah, it's I mean, you're especially the bigger ones. I mean, because I've seen that in action. I've seen the bigger trampolines go bonkers. Because
Really?
the my best friend who lived in the backyard, or their house was directly, we shared backyards. They had one of those big trampolines, and about every 2 weeks there was a situation. Someone gets bounced off. Because if you're on there with two people, you can do that thing where you can like super bounce somebody.
Oh.
And then they'll just like they shoot off like a rock, those like little rockets we launched in grade
Oh.
high school, or whatever. You could like if you timed it right, you could launch somebody. And that usually would end up being like a broken arm or a real situation happening. But
And nobody
and then they
thought
had to get
go ahead.
oh wait, I'm looking out the window right now. Across the street there are two kids bouncing on a trampoline.
Oh.
And they've got it almost looks like they're totally encased by net, and
Yeah.
so yeah, now they've got them super safe
Well, that
with like all the
I don't think that's still safe. I think and what's the thinking after 2 or 3 kids have broken their arm? Well, we paid for it. We
yeah, I think it's like it's sunken cost, less broken cost. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like, well, it's they're not dead, I guess. We paid for it, especially I mean, because I don't think the big ones are cheap. But I don't know. I don't know part of it. I don't know what it's like to be a parent, but I remember the first time I learned that one of the big reasons, parents will get their kids a pet is so that they can learn about death.
Oh, I did
And
what? What?
yeah, well, because whether it's a dog or a cat or well, lizards can live long time, but or goldfish especially, because goldfish, I guess, typically don't live super long. But it'll be the first time a child usually or has to directly confront death of something that they love.
I've
And
never heard this theory. Who told you this?
I can't remember who told it to me, but I'm sure they were a parent. But I think maybe it's not the reason why they get
Okay.
pets, but it's one of the it's one of the big like I don't know, inherent life lessons about having a pet, like having to take care of something, showing some responsibility for something outside of yourself. I'm kind of just guessing at this
Yes,
point, right?
when you said that's what it was for, I was like, "Hey, here we got you a puppy so you can watch it die." Like I
Yeah, that's kind of a dark way to look at
we're
it.
getting you ready for grandma. We're gonna get you prepared.
Yeah. I mean, but then you talk to weirdos like us, and it's like we're getting you this pet so you can watch its physical form in. But with any luck, you will have connected a spiritual and conscious connection to this animal, and you'll be able to communicate with them after their physical form is gone. Okay, so we might be flushing this fish down the toilet, but it will always be here with you.
And they'll be like, "Wait, there's a invisible fish following me around the rest of my life." You know what else? But I do think of this. I think I want to, if I get another dog, it's just too much of a hassle, and I don't have the uh, brain space right now. What do they call that? Swap space. But
Capacity.
yes, and I think, well, Chihuahuas are like Courage, 18 years. I'm 60 a week after this podcast comes out. I don't think I can commit to a Chihuahua. I think I need a pet that's going to cut off at 12.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The bigger the dog, typically the shorter the lifespan, I think, as well.
Yeah, I got to get it. I'm
Um,
going to be on the plane with a Mastiff.
yeah, or a Great Dane. Like, don't Great Danes, don't they have, what is it, gigantism, like where they never stop growing?
Oh, I didn't know that. I know
They don't.
the funniest thing I ever saw was a woman had, I think it was a Great Dane, on the plane, and she was in the front row where it's supposed to be, and the dog was so afraid it was sitting on her like you would hold a baby, like it was on top of her, so afraid. It was the funniest. Not that that's funny, but watching this
It's
woman,
kind of adorable.
I was adorable. I wish I could have taken a picture, and she was just rolling her eyes like, yeah, he's nervous. You know.
I mean, of course he is. He doesn't, he's, yeah, I mean, it is wild. I mean, the, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think. I actually had a dog. Our first dog ran away. It just kind of disappeared. So that
Oh.
was a weird life lesson.
Did you ever ask your parents if that's what happened?
Yeah, well, she got out and took off.
Oh.
I think she ran away with her lover because one day she would get out every once in a while. And then one day she had puppies. And I'm like, is this like, is she the Virgin Mary? What's happening here? And I was like, what is this? Is this, I can't even remember the name of the, wow, I'm actually kind of happy I can't remember the phrase about Mary, her birth. What was it called? Oh, Immaculate Conception.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I saw, I was like, our puppy was having an immaculate conception litter or something. And it turns out that her boyfriend lived up the street. There was this dog and they loved each other. And I think so. I mean, this other dog, they had I'll never forget this because we were talking to the neighbors and they're like, we have a 6-foot fence that he jumped over to go hang out with your dog. Like he didn't dig under, he jumped over a shit, and he was a little dog. He wasn't a huge dog.
Oh,
And
I've seen big dogs
and
do
I was,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So I was just like, man, this is, to have that kind of love someday, to jump over a fence. That's, that would be the equivalent of me. Like, let's just say he was 2 feet tall. So that's times 3.
Wow.
So I'd have to be able to jump over an 18-foot fence, which I can't even conceive how high that is. But
No, that'd be like trying to get in here. I think the wall from Mexico is that high? I don't know. What's funny about you and I don't know if it's us or that things happen to us, but like we don't have regular stories. Like you were like, I think my dog ran off with her lover. And it's like what? Then anyone talking to you goes, well, there's got to be more to this. What's keep going? Not we lost our dog, ran off with a lover. A lover. This is affair. Was the lover married? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah. Was this? Yeah, it's like they eloped. Where would dogs? What's dog Vegas? Like, but oh, you did ask me earlier if I thought 2025 was going fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you that I don't feel it.
Really?
I feel like it's changing, and I don't know, it might have something to do with, I've been doing the Gateway Voyage guided meditation program for the last few months since late last year.
Tell us about that, and then we'll see if that's going to slow down time.
Yeah, well, I believe that this is what's slowing down time for me, specifically. I believe it is responsible. So I usually do it at night because it's just more quiet and things like that to do it, to be able to, listen to the guided meditations without like all this kind of craziness happening around me. And what it does is, the purpose of the meditation is to try to help you tap into the fact that you are more than your physical body, and you are more than more than the physical world. And because of that, you can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. And, and you can tap into these energies and energy systems, as Robert Monroe calls them, who I'm kind of fascinated with right now. And you can use these to astral project, even though he doesn't like that term, because he thinks it's, he's kind of like a science, but he wants to prove all this with like science when he was alive, right? So he stayed away from terms that might have negative connotations for people. So, but it's all about, he coined the phrase out of body experience, right? And so I'm learning how to remote view, to astral travel, amongst other things. And it's heightened my psychic intuitions. And, I had an experience with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago. I was over at his house in Laurel Canyon, and he's like, there's something I want to do, but I'm going to need you to do I'm going to need you to do two things first. And this was at night, and I go, you need me to prepare or find something to make an offering because we're going to a witch's altar. And he stood there in his living room and stared at me like he was looking at a ghost. And he goes, "How the fuck did you know that?" And I go, you just thought it very loudly to me when you said that. And so, but anyway, these meditations have been slowing time down for me, because I believe, and I think this is what is, kind of the purpose of it. It's like when you go into this astral plane, or you go into this non-physical realm, or when you try to access that place, linear time is no longer a thing that, dominates our existence. And to me, it's similar to like if anyone has ever smoked DMT before. It feels like you're in there for an eternity, but in reality, you've only spent 15 minutes there in this physical, when you come back to this physical world. And it's kind of that's one of the most mind-blowing aspects about that hallucinogenic drug, is how different time feels. And you can't believe that it's, because you experienced so much that it's impossible to believe that it's only been what we consider to be a short amount of time of 15 minutes. And so I think the residual results of, actually for the first time in my life, having a pretty steady meditation practice, for months, has caused me to, be more anchored in the moment of now, which also I believe slows time down when we do that.
You know what? I just have to say this. I really believe that meditation is, if you want to be psychic, that was how I blew kind of my third eye open. Was I was so unhappy in my life, and I said, I'm going to meditate for an hour every day, no matter what. And I got this crazy Christian book about, you got to open the chakras, but you got to have the cross of Jesus over them. Otherwise things are going to get in, and it had all these steps. And to this day, I don't know what it was, but it was something that I did every day, and that blows your third eye open. And I think when people say I can't meditate or something like that, you have to remember, you don't have to meditate well. That's a different, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. I want to read one. I actually marked a page here before our chat, because I thought that this might come up, or I thought that this might be something that's interesting. about that, because I know a lot of people are like, when it comes to meditation, like, I just can't stop thinking, the thoughts in my head or whatever. And it's like you said, you don't have to do this well, and you just got to keep doing it. And I'm a living example of that. I have to keep myself. I have to keep myself doing it. And it's not always easy to make time.
No.
But there's this great quote, or there's this great line from the book where he's talking about, or he's writing about, what it's like to be going out there, and where do you go, and how do you know where you're going when you're out of body, going into the non-physical space, the immaterial world. And he said, let one small stray thought emerge dominantly for just 1 microsecond, and your course is deviated. Add to this the fact that your conscious mind may be in conflict with the superconscious as to what should be that destination. And you can begin to appreciate why so many experiments to produce what he calls locale 1, evidential data, have ended in failure. So, like, even these people that are considered to be I don't know, not the inventors, obviously, but, bringing this information, synthesizing it into like a modern Western way language, and helping people achieve it themselves. Those people struggled and struggled and struggled getting to the point where they could actually do it, right? And in Monroe's case, he was, quote unquote, suffering from out of body experiences constantly without understanding what they were. And that's what started his journey into trying to understand and discover what it was, and then experimenting with different things. And, so he essentially was like a cartographer of the astral plane, not on purpose, but because he couldn't not do it. And it became a thing that terrified him. He didn't know if he was going crazy, if something was wrong with him, if he was constantly hallucinating, if he was, suffering from some kind of mental illness, et cetera, et cetera. And that led him on this journey. Journeys Out of the Body is the name of his first book, actually. But so it is a thing too, where, like this world, and he talks about this world, the physical world, and he talks about 3 different places that you can go: locale 1, 2, and 3. In the out of body world, in the non-physical, the immaterial world, where consciousness is king, and like thoughts create instantly and whatever. You can go anywhere, you can do anything, you can make anything. And there are areas where primal desires dominate. And I've had this conversation with people that I know for years, specifically someone who is one of these involuntary astral travelers, right? It's just always happened to them. And they go through phases where there are like strong sexual periods of like, they're out there and they're like, you can have sex with anyone you want.
I was on that plane for a while. Yeah. I wasn't making a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, and so, and like some of us are like, maybe we want to giggle and, right? But it's like, it was like an orgy club out there on the astral plane. And it's like, well, it's just tapping into these like urges that we have, and maybe we're not being able to express them properly here in the physical world, and they're expressing themselves there. So, we can experience it. And, and then they go into a different phase a month later, where now they're just traveling through, forward, backwards in time. And I don't know, it's really fascinating. It's really trying to make me understand, my own anchors here in this physical world, and, what may be keeping me, locked down from really, experiencing my full potential. I think a lot of it has to do with like diet. For me specifically, I'll get too juiced up on caffeine and things like that. So I cut out. I used to drink way too much Diet Coke, and I'm totally off that stuff now.
Well, yes, and also I just want to throw this in, and then we'll take a break real quick. But if you can't meditate, find a different way to do it, which is find a guided meditation. Or people forget chanting can accomplish the same thing. So, yeah, I really think that's it. And I love that about the dream state, because I used to be so in touch with my dreams. All right, hold on a second, folks. Go grab your Diet Cokes. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. Do you love everything paranormal, supernatural, or otherwise spiritual?
Well, of course you do. You're listening to Paranormal Karen.
If you like some humor sprinkled into your morning commute or wherever you listen to your podcast, we don't judge. We've got the most fantastic paranormal podcast for you.
I'm Dana.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Megan. We'd love for you to join us at Supernormal on YouTube or wherever else you get your podcast fix.
Trust us, it's weird, it's wild, and a whole lot of fun.
I'm not weird, you're weird.
You know, it's so funny because what you're talking about, I feel like right now there's a strange pull for people in the woo-woo, in the spiritual, being pulled down to the 3D world, and people in the 3D world are being pulled up into the woo world, like the two are trying to balance out. You know, like maybe tarot readers I know suddenly have to get a job that's a real job, that's a real 3D job, and all of a sudden somebody that has a real job needs to fill the time with woo-woo stuff, like it feels like there's some sort of balance trying to be made there. But yeah, I have it's funny, I have started juicing, and I was reading the one on celery juice because now I have celery juice every morning. But I keep thinking, so the guy that talks about celery juice, it's like he talks about it like it's the cure all. And it may be, I don't know, it's doing some pretty good stuff for me, but I think we always get hyper focused on like one thing. Like this is the one thing that's going to make me healthy. I say as I eat apricot seeds. That was the latest fad. But you know what I mean? Like it's so hard to tell what to eat now.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm doing my darndest to focus on, preparing my food the best I can. And also at the same time, not, spending $1 million on food. And, especially right now, the way things are here in, March, or are we in March or are we in April?
This is coming out in August, but we're in April.
Oh God, it's like April 20th.
Right? Well, I think it's the 19th because the 20th the world's supposed to end or something. Something like that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Also, by the way, everyone, if for some reason this podcast just suddenly ends, that's because my batteries ran out. So we'll say goodbye now and keep talking until there's no more. Maybe we'll make it. Okay. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think that's an important point you made about meditation before that last break, because, I struggled with that. I was like, I wasn't the guy who could sit there quietly with his legs crossed, thumb and pointer finger pressed together in total silence. I had to figure out, like, if I'm laying down, kind of propped up a little bit in a reading pillow with some music and some candles or some incense burning, a couple crystals in my hand maybe, or whatever. I can totally groove into it much better that way. And I also enjoy guided.
I'm going to go right with you on this is I can't sit up like that. I don't want to sit up like that. In yoga, they do it all the time. And I'm like, I don't know. My back's not wired like that. If I can lay down, they're like, would you fall asleep? Nope. That's how it works for me. Laying down.
Yeah. I think that for me works much, much better. And even like active meditations, like a walking meditation out in nature. I think that's, that serves a similar, it has a similar effect for me, being able to go into a space where I can release, and the thing that really blew my mind though, I got to talk about this because like, I haven't really had anybody to talk about this too.
Okay.
And you're perfect for this.
Yay.
So I'm watching this video on Monroe, right? And I'm obsessed with this guy. I've been obsessed with the Monroe Institute that's over in like, where is it?
Is it North Carolina, Virginia or something?
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, it's over in that area. And where all the weird stuff is based. It's just wild to me how much weird stuff is over there. And so anyway, I'm watching this video and I had to stop about halfway through because he's getting into stuff that was going to be spoilers for the book I'm reading right now. And I didn't want to know too much because I want to read it. But he's talking about archangels. And the host of this interview asked him about archangels, asked him about archetypes, like that you encounter when you're in these non-physical realms, when you're traveling through, when your non-physical body is going everywhere. And what's interesting too is your non-physical body has all of the physical senses. It can see, it can hear, it can touch, it can feel, right? It can probably smell, it can taste probably. And which makes me think, like, are we wrong about thinking our physical body is what makes those things possible? And in fact, it's our non-physical body, our astral body or whatever, that actually has all of these senses. And, you know, much like a plug doesn't create electricity, it plugs into the electricity that is flowing already, right? So it's harnessing. So our alarm clocks and our, like, you know, those physical plugs or USB ports, those things don't make, you know, the actual power. They are just the conduits for it, right? So that anyway, that's a side thought. But he's talking about these archangels and archetypes, and Monroe goes, "What's interesting that we've discovered is these things that are protecting or serving or helping or guiding us in this other realm." Specifically the ones that are like the protectors of us, or that are very closely connected to us. Those are past life versions of ourselves that are still with us and will always be with us, that have knowledge that we don't have because they've lived those lives already and they've learned those other lessons. So he said these archangels are just the past life versions of yourself. And I was just like, oh my God, I've never heard that, I don't think.
I think, you know what? I have to tell you right now, I'm a little bit open to anything. I'm totally not married to a lot of things. In fact, I'm having a lot of I'm having a lot of trouble with we make our own reality. I'm definitely a law of attraction person, but the we make our own reality thing then tends to go to, well, you decided before you came here. And then I'm like, yeah, I can't. Anyways, it's interesting that that could be, but also, like, I think there's angels. We have angels that would fit that bill that he's talking about exactly. Archangels, I thought, were kind of a different level. Also, but we could all tap into the archangels. So maybe it is sort of all of us. And also, I wonder sometimes if the archangels are a form of AI. I know I threw 10
You mean
things in.
created by, like, when you say a form of AI, do you mean like created by something or someone else?
Yes, that they're a program. Like, I think we are programs, okay? Whether you want to call that like therapy, like you're programmed like this because your mom was like that, or that kind of thing. Like, I think a lot of it is it's probably more basic than even 001s. But I think mankind, DNA, all that stuff is the closer. I'm against, what do they call that, where they call it transhumanism, not trans people like transitioning sex, but transhumanism, becoming
Yes.
part of a like becoming a computer.
That is some, there, like that transhumanist movement. There are some real creepos in like there's this documentary. I wish I could remember the name of the documentary. There's this one, I mean, there's a group of people that are like so hell-bent on essentially living forever.
Yeah.
And there are some real, like, elitist kind of crazy, you start getting into some really weird, uncomfortable territory for me with some of these people, where, you know, it's like the wealthy, you know,
Yep.
it's like something that only the extremely wealthy will have access to. Oh, but then everyone else will get, yeah, we will. The rest of us are just gonna, because that's how history has worked, right?
Yeah.
People who have had the abundance of everything have just decided from the goodness of their heart to let everyone else have it.
Well,
And
they're turning out, it's turning, unless they need us for slaves, then they'll.
yeah, right. So it's like that never happens. I mean, there's still people who don't have, you know, we don't have free water or clean water and free electricity. And like, so like, you're going to tell me that you're going to just give immortality to everybody else, physical immortality to everybody else without health problems without, all of a sudden, without like worrying about any of that. You're just going to give that away once you have it. Like, I excuse my skepticism.
Right. But
But
I don't think living forever. I don't know what life they're living, but I don't want to live forever. So the 20s were fun, running around drinking all the time, but I don't want to do that now, right? And
yes.
have you ever seen a happy vampire? No, you have not. They're done. They know a lot about art. They were there. They can tell a story, but they're not like, I wake up every day. What will tomorrow bring? It's not there.
Yeah. Yeah. The only people who say that are the people who have like unlimited resources and life is a dream.
But
And
even then, I keep seeing, I think the people with unlimited resources, I swear, are more miserable and delicate than the rest of us. I really, like, there's a point now, I can't stand him, but there's a point where I just kind of feel bad for, well, who's this guy? Elon Musk? Because he can't understand why I fired you from your job to save money. Why are you mad at me? Like, he can't. I think more so than anyone else, he can't absorb that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, and there is to me too, you see it play itself out in the way that, like, I don't know, old retired people or people close to being retired who have everything that you possibly could want. And they're so angry and miserable. And
Yeah.
it's like, why is that? And I think it's because they realize they played a game that was supposed to provide, they won this game that they told they should play to be happy. And now they've played the entirety of the game. The results are in and they're miserable. And it's like, oh, money and material things and all this kind of stuff. That has not provided me the joy and the peace of mind that I was supposed to have. And now my life is at the end stage and I've thrown it all away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been lied to about it.
We had when we were first starting at the Comedy Store, there was one guy there and he was from a very wealthy family and he was making a lot of money. He had a really good job and everybody was joking about how they, had credit card debt or whatever. And he just turns around and looks at everything and goes, "Why don't you guys write a check?" Like, he didn't have the understanding that there's sometimes there isn't anything. Like, I feel like I see that so much in people, not just about money or being rich, but like they can't. Some woman had her baby because she had terrible post-traumatic stress. Some guy at the store was yelling, "These people shouldn't have babies," and I was like, "You, sir, know nothing about this process. I'm sure she didn't set out to do that, But anyways, I don't know. How did we get off on this? Oh, we're talking about angels.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I also think that you bring up something that's a really great point, though. These, I don't know, and it would be a new level of horrific to me to have to wrap my brain around the reality of this, but I don't think there's a woman alive on the planet who's having a child so she can kill it.
Right.
Yeah. Or like that's not something people are doing.
No.
And now there is a revival of satanic panic happening in this country, and which I can't believe. And I'm hearing it from people I never thought I would have heard it from. But like, to those people, the people who, find themselves in the QAnon world still and things like that, it's like they think satanic, they're the ones feeding, they think this shit's real. And it's, wow.
And when you say satanic panic, are you talking about people talking about the deep state or the cults or the music industry?
Well, specifically, like, and a lot of that kind of, I think, stems from that like highly conspiratorial, the cabal, the evil, the Satanists are running everything, and because, the other day I heard someone mentioned Jennifer Aniston, and then this person goes, "You mean Jennifer Aniston man?"
Oh, that one's making me crazy. That's Candace Owens, yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, what? You're like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, Michelle Obama, Jennifer Aniston.
The lady from France, the Macron's wife who sued Candace Owen for this. Yeah, that's like the weirdest. I can't even follow that line.
Yeah, I can't follow it either. And then, well, a good friend of mine, Dave Waite, is a very funny comic. I was telling him the story. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then he said, "You mean Jennifer Aniston, man?" And then he goes, "Yeah, but it's like, okay, okay, what if she is?
Who cares?
Then what?
Then what?
Then what? Then what? Then what? Then what does that mean? So okay, she's a man. So what?" And then to me, that was really funny because it was like,
I know, because Jennifer Aniston's not going to affect your life at all.
yeah, and so I don't know. My assumption would be that the argument from that person would be like, well, she's a man, and they pretended that she was a woman to trick us all, to fool us into being attracted to men.
Oh,
or it's like what is the grand conspiracy? What is the reason?
right. The gay
What's
frogs.
and it's
yeah.
and a lot of it's homophobia, right? And anyway, so to me it was pretty wild. But yeah, so I don't get into any of that stuff. Like the
No,
grand
and
conspiracies.
and I do think a lot of them. It was one of the funniest things. I hope this I'm watching my battery. It's not flashing yet. But then there is like the Diddy stuff, which is the trafficking circles. But I have to laugh because, and folks, I just have to claim it. I hate to be glad, right? That any bad things are happening to anyone. But I am so glad that Russell Brand was convicted. I don't know if he's going to be found guilty, but that is, I said to you once, I said, he assaulted hundreds of women, and you sent back as a joke hundreds of women, and and I didn't answer it, but he assaulted hundreds of women. I was like, I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but
Yeah.
but that, and and he was Diddy's roommate and hosted the parties with him, so that's where it gets weird. Like, why do I even care about Jennifer Aniston having a penis or not having a penis when you have something you can look at right there and go, hey, that's where the problem was. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, 100%. And it's, there are actual things happening in the
Right.
world. And, and I think a lot of people, they don't, when we feel powerless and things are out of our control, we want to blame somebody for that.
Yep.
And, different people and different personality types or whatever, they land on different people to blame. And unfortunately, historically, it's often been the Jews.
Yes. Yeah.
Or George Soros, the Rockefellers, the cabal, the deep state. And not to say that there isn't, because I do believe in a transnational, secret kind of governing force that, with all the UFO stuff and things like that. But to explode it into a way where it's like just so much of that, and then that satanic panic starts flavoring in, and because there is trafficking of children, and my dad and stepmom in Ohio were or are big proponents of enacting legislature when my dad was a judge and trying to raise awareness for human trafficking and things like that. So it's a conversation that, has been had a lot in my family, just because people are involved and trying to, because it's one of those things too, where it's like such a, well, no, you don't do that kind of thing. Like everyone assumes you don't do that, that there wasn't like explicit laws written in a lot of states.
Right.
Because everyone's like, well, what? We have to have a law to tell people not to do that? Everyone should just know not to fucking do that.
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's why, as we're taping this in April, this just let's pick up somebody, put them on a plane and deport them. That could turn into sexual trafficking so fast. Like, just where did the girl go? We don't know. Nobody's answering any questions. But also, that, there's another question I want to fit in quick, and we'll just let the battery run out, I guess, on that. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that it's not always sexual. There was somebody that didn't realize their neighbor's nanny was brought to this country illegally and was not like they were keeping her in the house, making sure she had no way to get out. So it's not just sexual, it's just the trafficking of people.
Oh yeah, it's like slavery.
Yes, yes. So, this is a weird question, and just the battery will run out soon. But are you on TikTok at all, or you don't do that? Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The haunted videos on there are great. I am sure half of them are AI or set up for clicks. But do you ever find them interesting and go down that rabbit hole?
I never scroll reels on Instagram, TikTok. I'm never on Facebook looking. I go onto these things, I post, and then I'll respond to something
Oh, to stay out
if
of
someone
them.
comments or message. But I don't. But I never get. For whatever reason, my brain doesn't get sucked into the. Oh, I could sit here and watch TikTok all day. I
Oh,
have
mine
watched.
will.
Obviously, I've watched a couple here or there, but and if somebody sends me something, oftentimes I'll try to watch it, but I don't spend time on TikTok or
Ugh,
anything like that watching.
you're better than me. Oh.
Well, what am I spending my time on is the question now that we must ask ourselves. And I'm telling you, it's nothing any better.
I
I'm over
know.
here like watching baseball games or,
Or
playing with
looking
my fantasy baseball team
or
or doing
looking
something
at
crazy like.
pictures of Jennifer Aniston, man.
Yes, yes, trying to find the crease, trying to find that crease, in the. Oh, I see a bulge. If you look at this one, she's a clone. Tom Hanks is a clone. It's like,
That's
okay,
right.
yeah, but no, I don't. But I have seen some, obviously, and with I think Bigfoot is the Bigfoot world is. It's become a lot more complicated because of AI.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's made it a lot more difficult to wade through that
Yeah.
in a way that it wasn't 10 years ago,
Yeah.
or even 5 years ago. But and people seem to just not care about AI in a way that I will never understand. When
Yeah.
it comes to like the using of artists' material and things like
Mhm.
that, and not to mention the consumption of energy resources. And I heard someone say one AI generated photo is the equivalent of like driving an old gasoline car for like 5 years or something crazy like that when it
Yeah.
comes to water. There was an AI engineer in an audience one night at a comedy show I was on, and the other comedian asked them what they thought about AI and the energy resources, and the dude didn't want to really talk because it was so bad. He didn't want the audience to want to murder him. It felt like, right? He was just like, I'd rather not mention this now. It was that kind of, I'd rather not get into it. Is kind of was his answer. And just on top of the, just blatant, Zuckerberg and all these people
Mhm.
who have just basically they've been busted, just stealing everybody's stuff,
Yeah.
using it to train it. Oops, well, we're billionaires. What are you going to do about? Yeah, we
Yeah.
broke the law, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me, and now,
I haven't used it yet. I know some friends, and I'm sure it's fine, and a lot of people love it. But I have some. It's funny how fast we went from this is going to destroy humanity to I got this answer off of AI, which is very unreliable, by the way. And
well, it's the inherent bias inside of these things, like the Chat GPT stuff, which is a whole nother probably conversation to have with someone smarter than me. But um, I used it in the early on and came up with a couple photos. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Mhm.
And then I learned about where all this stuff was coming, like where it was generating from, and I was like, I'm gonna try my best not to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And the Chat GPT, because I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 companies that are in control of all of this, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, well, who's putting in the answers? Who are these people? Where are they from? You know, what parts of society are they coming from?
Yeah.
They're choosing, and like especially when Google switched to the AI results, like of what in the last year.
So did Meta.
Um, yeah. So you have a buddy of mine sent me a transcript. He's a really brilliant guy. Because he does the pay for chat GBT thing where it'll remember everything and you can teach it stuff and train it to you specifically. And he had a very in-depth conversation. He sent me the transcript of challenging the AI on its inherent biases.
Oh.
And if it understood why it's inherently biased to basically, for lack of a better term, colonialist culture. And he got it to the, it understood, because he'd be like, can you define bias? Can you define cultural bias? Can you define dominating culture perspective? Do you understand what it means to be marginalized and have voice, and all these kinds of, so it's like this whole conversation where AI, basically ChatGPT was telling him, yes, I'm giving you the dominant culture's view, and the truth is different than what I'm giving you.
Wow.
And when you see it laid out, and so I was like, damn, the fact that you know how to ask these questions and get to this place, and like you're a really fucking smart guy. But that makes me just realize, like, yeah, this super robot mind is being fed information very specifically. And and I'm not trying to be conspiratorial about it, just after I was like, I don't really get into the conspiracies. And then I'm like, listen to this. Let me tell you why the robot is a white guy.
Well, all I can tell you is I used it once and I asked to show what Karen Rontowski would look like as a fairy, and it didn't look like me at all. It was like they just squished my face together. I can't believe we made it to the battery. Ryan, tell everyone. I'm sure they know where to find you. Tell them again.
RyanSingerComedy.com. That's got everything. I got it. Well, by this time, I've already made probably some major, announcements about things. So I hope people are enjoying whatever the new thing that I can't say now, but I will be by then. Well, I'll tell you, because August is a while away. But Late Night on the Astral Plane is the name of the new show.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So, oh my God, there's a Jesus parade walking down my street right now. Of all the times to be marching the street, and you're holding up a Jesus saves.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah.
Get Jesus on the trampoline.
Yeah, get Jesus on a trampoline. That's a fun song. But yeah, no, this has been great as always. I love you, Karen.
Love you too, my friend. I'm going to sign off and get the battery and just say goodbye to you off. So thank you, Ryan. Always great. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. Everybody, will see you soon.
Paranormal Karen, she's a spooky kind of queen. Paranormal Karen.